playoff super wild card. And we have two special guests today. My brother JC.
What's goody?
And my cousin Carlos.
Uh,
Known as Poppy Duke around here. And if you watch NC9 Talk, then you probably know I'm Nicholas, and that's my papa, Carlos.
What's up?
Today we'll be predicting NFC and AFC wildcards games. And before we get to anything, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you miss any new videos. And let's get into it. Carlos, the first game is the Colts and the Bills. What do you think about that game?
Colts and Bills is going to be a good game. I think it'll be a back and forth game to start off. I think the first half is going to be a lot of offense. Obviously, Buffalo knows how to score almost any which way. Stephon Diggs was the number one receiver all year in the NFL. Josh Allen put up top 3 quarterback numbers all year. So the last few games that they've played, they've looked even more unstoppable than they did in the beginning of the season. So I think they're catching fire right at the right time. They are in a home game. It is against the Colts, who also have a pretty good defense. Colts have Phillip Rivers and Jonathan Taylor heading their offense. They're going to look to run the ball a lot, which I would imagine Buffalo is going to look to stop, which means they're basically going to make Phillip Rivers throw. And if Phillip Rivers is throwing all game, eventually he's going to throw it to the other team. So I think Buffalo is going to end up stealing this game. I think I think it'll be close in the first half. Second half, I think Buffalo pulls away. I think they're too much for Indy. And I think in the second half, they start, kind of taking it as a breeze. But that's my prediction. What do you guys think?
Papa, what do you think?
This is my upset of Saturday. I was gonna pick Washington, but I think a lot of people are picking Washington to go over to beat. That's like one of the big upsets. But I think the Colts are gonna beat Buffalo. Just because I think Rivers is gonna show his experience. Buffalo is fairly new, per se. They've been hitting all cylinders, but just one of those games that I think the Phillip Rivers, being a veteran, is going to lead his team both offense and defensively, and he's probably going to have one of those speeches before the game. And I think that's what Colts has been missing the last few years since Luck left.
Yeah.
Has been a veteran presence, and obviously look what they've done this year with Rivers. Rivers is kind of like, turn the clock backwards, and he's shown what he has. So this is my upset. It's going to be close. I think they probably win by a field goal. If they don't win by a field goal, I think Bills will win by a lot. I mean, landslide.
There's talk about Phillip Rivers retiring at the end of this year too. So to your point, I would not be surprised, if he has one of those speeches before the game and kind of tells his team like, "Hey, this is it. This is
it.
This is my last ride for sure." So
I have like 15 kids.
We'll see if the Colts try to step up.
Almost more kids than years of experience.
Yeah, I think that he does. What about you, JC?
Keep it real simple. I think Buffalo, they're just too good right now, man. The offense is just disgusting.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Colts being able to stop them. Real simple.
What are you, Nicholas?
My thoughts is Buffalo Bills will win just because of their offense. Their offense is just too good for the Colts to handle. But maybe if the Colts will win, then the Colts defense will step up and make Josh Allen make mistakes, and he is very young, so probably those young mistakes, not rookie mistakes, but this is like his third, fourth year, and that's probably the only way they're gonna win for me is if the defense steps up.
It is his first playoff game, so.
Oh, this is his first.
I think so. I don't remember Buffalo getting to the playoffs last year. So.
No, the last.
Or did they?
They versus the Texans. That was a good game.
Oh yeah, but they lost, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost.
You lose to the Texans. Come on now.
Well, we'll move on to the second game, and that is the Rams and the Seahawks. And Carlos, we're gonna go back to you. What do you think about this game?
Rams and Seahawks. It'll be a tough one. That's a division game, and it's a division that we obviously know really well. So I think we kind of have a good idea of how this game might go. In the regular season, the Rams usually have the Seahawks number. I wonder if that's going to translate into the playoffs. I think the X factor really depends on who the quarterback is going to be for the Rams. if it's Jared Goff, I think they have a pretty good shot at beating the Seahawks just based on the fact that their defense has been top three all year. And again, they do have the Seahawks number. They know how to play them. They know how they coach. So, they know what to expect. On the Seahawks standpoint, X factor obviously is going to be Russell Wilson. Can you beat that defense? Can you find holes? Can you find ways to get your teammates involved? Um, I think he's definitely going to have to start looking for those deep throws again, kind of like he was earlier in the year. Earlier in the year, I don't know if you guys remember when it was a pass heavy offense, they were going off. I mean, they were beating teams like in the ground. They were scoring a lot. They moved in the second half of the year back to their running style. So I think if they want to have a chance of beating LA, they're going to have to kind of shock them with their play and not play into what they think they're going to do. So um, it'll be all on Russell Wilson, what kind of magic he can make. Somehow that guy always makes it happen, even when he's down 20 in the fourth, So um, if I had to choose, my decision is based on who's playing quarterback for the Rams. If Jared Goff is playing, I'm going to take the Rams to upset. Um, Otherwise, I think Russell Wilson will definitely, pull it out of the hat like he always does.
All right, Papa, what do you think?
Piggyback on what Carlos said, I think those are the X factors on the Rams defense. For some reason, we play the Rams pretty good, yet they play the Seahawks better than we play the Seahawks here. I don't know why we just don't, just copy what Rams do. It seems like the Seahawks the last maybe 2-3 weeks they kind of declined, especially Metcalf. And I mean we put them on hold them on check last game, and we just who's the other wide receiver that
Tyler Lockett.
yeah, that guy went off on us. But yeah, Metcalf has kind of calmed down, but still, this is one of those games that I think is just when you kind of bet against Wilson will just show up and keep it close, and at the end, here comes this long pass or scramble, and there goes the game for them.
Yeah, we've seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, it depends who's the quarterback, and even if Golf plays, he may be just too injured to maybe do a lot. However, I feel if Aaron Donald, that's his name, right? Aaron Donald. If he doesn't have a good game, this is just me. If he doesn't have a good game, Seahawks win it pretty much very easily. When he's having a game that he's just in the backfield where the quarterback is all day, it just becomes something different. When he's not no show, I mean the other team is just having too much time to throw, and you cannot give Wilson too much time to be thinking back there. So if he has one of those games that he has like 2-3 sacks, a strip, a tip, it's going to be a long day for Russell Wilson. But I feel the Seahawks are going to win at least by 3 or 4 points. What about you, JC?
Well, you guys basically just covered everything. Just to piggyback, I guess the fact that Russell Wilson is just that guy for me. I don't know. I just seen him show up too many times just to kind of just count him out, even though he's playing against a good defense.
Yeah.
It's really hard to count him out. But like, I don't know. In the back of my head, I want to say the Seahawks may lose. This may be the upset game that we're all thinking of, but I think Russell Wilson is just too good, man. He just pulls these type of games out, like the ones where it's just like, oh, like, is he really about it? And he always shows that he's about it. So definitely think he's gonna pull this one out.
Okay. What are you, Nicholas?
Yeah, all you guys are saying are great things, and I just think that Russell Wilson will show, just like what you all said. And the Rams, the defense is really great, but with Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, they're just too good of weapons for Russell Wilson. Like, he's gonna take advantage of his weapons, and that's exactly what he's gonna do against the Rams. And it's just gonna be too hard for the Rams to cover Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, and just worry about both of them. And then if you worry about both of them, he's gonna scramble Russell Wilson, and it's just too hard. So I say Seahawks win by like a touchdown.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the end of
One more game.
NC Super Wild Card Weekend. Thank you guys for watching, and All right, third one.
What?
Like, wait, there's like 6 more games.
I was like, there's like 4 more games. Yeah.
All right, Buccaneers and Washington. Carlos, we're gonna go to you.
Bucks in Washington. Everyone is riding the Washington train because of their defense. They do look good. I'm not gonna lie. Their defense looks really good. They're playing for Ron Rivera, who obviously just beat cancer this year, so they have a lot to play for. Alex Smith just came back. He's probably going to be the comeback player of the year. There's a ton of good stories in Washington. However, they're playing against the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. And even though Tom Brady he's been playing for over 20 years, he's still finding ways to do it. If you guys look at just the last 5-6 weeks, how many times were the Buccaneers, down at halftime by multiple touchdowns, and he came back and won every single one. Some of them, to the point where they could rest in the fourth quarter. So I think, I know I saw earlier this week that one of the guys on Washington, Chase Young, was saying, "Oh, we want Tom. I want Tom."
Yeah.
I think that's going to come back and bite him in the butt tomorrow, just because, again, that's one team that, you talk about lack of playoff experience or the experience winning at all. They're the true definition of that. Washington has not been a good team the last few years. So, granted, they're looking good, especially with their defense. They are right in their defense. Tampa Bay's defense is not exactly, a soft defense either. They still have a top 10 defense, especially in their run. I think Tom Brady uses his playoff experience and his smarts to outsmart Washington. I just don't think Washington has enough firepower to keep up with them. You talk about Tampa Bay, they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, Ronald Jones, Fournette. There's a ton of guys on there that Brady can give the ball to. So it'll be tough for Washington. Washington is playing at home, so they have that to their advantage, but I'm not sure if there's even, I don't know that home field is something against Tom Brady. So I think the first half will be close. The first half won't be high scoring necessarily, but in the second half, Tom will make the corrections like he always does, and they'll win. I think they'll win by at least a touchdown.
All right, Pablo, what do you think?
I think it comes down to Washington not having a good offense. They have an okay offense, and that's the balance. They have a great defense, a rush. The problem is, how often is that defense? How long is Washington's defense going to be on the field? Because if Washington's offense doesn't get first downs, doesn't get field goals, doesn't get touchdowns, that means their defense is going to be on the field way too long. And here comes Brady, going to lick his chops, and he's just going to outsmart these guys. The only way I feel Washington wins if they score at least 14 points. That's just me. 14 points offensively. That means they're going to have long drives, even 17, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. If they score around 14, 17 points, they have a good chance of winning, just because they're going to keep that ball away from Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady doesn't like getting hit, and this guy is going to come motivated, this Chase Young guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are giving them a chance to win. I think, like you said, at the end of the day, Tom Brady is going to show up. But I think if Washington comes strong and scores early, starts that momentum going for them, I think the defense is going to be hyped even more, and they're young, so they have a chance. But however, I think at the end, Tom Brady is going to show why he's considered the greatest. What about you, Jason?
I think this game is just one of those typical teams that are riding the high horse, that are just riding that momentum into the playoffs that they never really had before, and nobody really expected them to be in that situation, versus the team that's not necessarily, I guess they're not the team that seasoned, but the quarterback that's seasoned and that's seen it all, and that is built for every situation, that can overcome any situation, Tom Brady. So I think that the momentum ends on tomorrow, and Tampa Bay wins by at least 2-3 touchdowns, maybe.
Good. Are you
All right.
nervous?
I'm just saying, this is about to be Tom Brady's face when they lose. lost by 4. Oh. And Washington, man, they're about to come. 4 sacks coming, 1 INT. And all right. Washington, I say to win is to have at least 3 to 4 sacks and Tom Brady to turn over at least one time. And for the Washington offense, they have Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, and I think it's Antonio Gibson, the running back. He's a great running back at rookie.
Hey, this is what happens when you play Madden so much. You know all these guys' players.
I know. That's what happens when you play fantasy, too. Logan Thomas is their tight end. McLaurin is their wide receiver. You got McKissick and Gibson at running back. Those are the only guys worth mentioning on that whole offense. That's it. That's all they got.
Yeah, they have a good offense, but let's see if Alex Smith is back into playoff form, but maybe not, so the defense has to pick up the slack.
So who do you think is going to win?
I said the football team. The
football team.
No name, man. The no name is about to win the Super Bowl. I'm joking. But they're going to win. They're going to win
tomorrow? So it's an upset for you?
Upset for me. This is the upset for me. And Tom Brady he's just too old, man. But they have a lot of weapons, but I just don't think they're going to capitalize. Because they're 11-5, and they really should be like 15-1, 14-2. But I don't know, man. I just think Washington is going to get that upset win. And, yeah, they're just going to win by a field goal or 2. Like 2 field goals.
Okay. All right.
And now we're on Sunday. Sunday night.
Sunday games.
I'm joking. Sunday morning, and it's Ravens versus the Titans. I think might be the best playoff game of the wild card year.
That's gonna be a good game, yeah.
But let's see if they show. But Carlos, what do you think?
That one's tough, man. I've been going back and forth with that one. I'll tell you what needs to happen in order for either team to win. The X factor is going to be who can stop the run, and that's it. The Titans have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is their offense. He rushed for over 2,000 yards this year, one of only 6 running backs to do so. He's having a career year, and literally no one can stop him. I mean, when you see him running, the guy is twice the size of freaking lineman. So he bulldozes through people, literally. With that being said, though, I mean, even aside from Henry, Ryan Tannehill and that offense they look pretty good. And not only that, Coach Mike Vrabel, the coach on their team, is a very good play caller. I've watched a few of their games, and he knows when to call the right plays. He knows how to shock defenses. He knows how to play. He knows how to play against what they think they're going to play. On the other side, the Ravens have been on fire the last 5 or 6 games. I mean, they've definitely got hot right at the right time. Lamar Jackson specifically has gotten hot at the right time. He is the reigning NFL MVP, so you have to give him some credit there. First running back to rush for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. So the Ravens as a team are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. So it's funny to see, you have the number 1 rushing team against the number 1 rusher. The Ravens just in week 17 set, I don't know if it was their franchise record or the NFL record for most rushing yards in a game. They ran for damn near
100.
They ran for almost 400 yards in that game. They don't even pass. That's what I'm saying. All they do is run. So and that's not saying that they don't have pieces on offense too. They have Mark Andrews at tight end. They have Marquise Brown. They even have Des Bryant, Willie Snead. So they have a few guys that they can use and stuff. But again, it really all comes down to who stops the run. If I had to choose, as good as the Titans offense looks, defense wins games. And I think because of that, the Ravens are going to take it. Just because I think they're going to learn how to stop the run a little better than the Titans will. With the Ravens, who's going to run the ball. Every time who's going to run it. Tannehill may run here and there, but for the most part, who's running the ball. In Baltimore, you have Jackson that can run. You have Ingram that can run. You have Gus Edwards that can run. You have the new running back, J.K. Dobbins, that's running all over everyone. So I think the fact that you have Lamar Jackson that obviously can, play like a wide receiver and running back at a quarterback is a huge advantage over the Titans. But this one's going to be tough, man. I mean, it's all a matter of if they even execute, So if the Ravens don't execute their plays well, the Titans are going to run all over them. So I think last year, 2 years ago, the Titans beat out the Ravens. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. From a statistic standpoint, the road team usually wins actually in these types of matchups. So interesting to see, man. Both teams are hot. Both teams look good. If I had to lean one way, I'm leaning the Ravens just because of their defense.
Papa, what do you think?
I'm picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens because the Titans will have to, no matter, they're gonna have to rely on one guy and one guy only, like Carlos said, and that's the problem when it comes to the playoffs. The defense of the other teams will like focus more than like the regular season. Regular season, they're trying things here, they're trying things there, but here come playoffs, they know they're gonna have to stop uh or stop Henry. They have to stop Henry. I mean, no matter what, they have to stop him. If they stop him, the difference between that, if they stop Henry, then who do they have on Tennessee? They do have weapons, but it's going to be a little bit tougher. The thing is with Baltimore is that anyone could go off. I feel that if Lamar Jackson has one of those 250 yards, 60-yard rushing, no interceptions, a couple touchdowns here, and his running game is going off, I mean, it's going to be hard to stop him. I mean, it's really hard. He is, he does throw, interceptions. So if he has a quiet game in the aspect of turnovers, I think it's going to be on the favor of Baltimore because they got more options. Say they stop Lamar Jackson from running. Okay, well, they got the running backs. Well, they stop that. They're going to have, and then he could run and he could do things and he could, be mobile and all these things. So he has a little bit more options in Tennessee, but like what Carlos says, so whoever stops the run, it will be a big factor. So, but I think Baltimore has been playing on a higher level the last 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe a little bit more than that. So for that alone, I think Baltimore wins. What about you, JC?
Revenge game. Yeah, revenge game. I think the Ravens are going to pull it out strictly because strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Strength in numbers. If you got a more balanced team, not necessarily more balanced, but more options, it's going to be a lot easier for you to go against the defense than if you just have one solely based offense through every like thin and thin. You're riding with that. Like in the playoffs, defense is a lot different. You're gonna take away your strengths way more than you do during the regular season. Just like in basketball, like for example, like Derrick Henry is kind of like Giannis. He's very athletic, but during the playoffs, if you get hit with that wall, you know what I'm saying, and everybody's focusing on you, are you going to be able to produce like you're supposed to for your team to win? So that's what I think. The Ravens will win.
Okay. What about you, Nicholas?
I think the Titans come out. I don't really agree with you guys because the passing attack with AJ Brown and Ryan Tannehill has been having a great season on the passing side, and with Derrick Henry, I don't think Ravens can stop Derrick Henry. He's just such a beast. And you see what they did last year? They lost by like 20. And I think it's not going to be the same. I think it's going to be closer, but I still think Titans come out with win by a touchdown or maybe like a field goal.
Okay.
I do want to mention these stats real quick. Titans have the number 2 rushing offense. The Ravens have number 1. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that literally the top 2 rushing offenses go against each other. One key difference, though, the 2020 Titans give up the most points per game since the 2000 Rams. So From a defensive standpoint, there is no defense in Tennessee. It's it's all in Baltimore, and Baltimore has some nasty corners. So um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's if Tennessee can out offense their defense, then they might have a chance. So we'll see.
Alright. Well, there's gonna be a total of 6 passes in that game. And
I know, right? Lamar Jackson doesn't even pass anymore.
he's like a running back. But next one, it's at 1:40 p.m. It's the Bears versus the Saints. And what do you think, Carlos?
All right, so I'm looking at all the statistics, and everything points to the Saints. And I mean everything. Drew Brees has great numbers when he's in the playoffs. The Bears have horrible numbers against the Saints. I don't know why I get the feeling that Drew Brees is not going to step up tomorrow. He's looked shaky. He's looked slow. He does not look on point in the last few weeks of this season, at least since he's been back from injury, basically. If you guys remember that game, I don't remember who they beat, where Alvin Kamara had like 6 touchdowns.
Vikings?
The Vikings.
Yeah, Drew Brees threw 100 yards and no touchdowns. So,
Receptions, I think.
yeah. So from that standpoint, I think if that's kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if they used a lot of Taysom Hill in this game rather than Drew Brees. I think the Bears, hopefully, they see that. And the Bears defense is, even though they're not top 5 anymore, they still have a pretty good, solid defense, regardless of what their offense looks like. So I think if the Bears defense can get to Breeze, then I think they have a chance of pulling off the upset. And that's quite an upset because the Saints offense is, they're always been, top 5. They're always, super high octane. Their line's really good. They have a lot of receivers. They have Alvin Kamara, like I said, so the X factor on the Saints is going to be Drew Brees, how he plays. If he dumps it off to Kamara every time, then it's all on, can Chicago stop, Kamara. Earlier in the year, they had a head-to-head matchup. Saints won by 3 in overtime. So it was a close game between them earlier this year. So we'll see. This is kind of like my far out there upset pick. But if I had, just for the hell of it, I'm going to take the Bears. Just because you never know. And if I'm right, then I'm a genius. So.
All right, Papa, what do you think?
This is my upset of Sunday. This is my upset. The only way this is going to happen, though, is Khalil Mack has one of those crazy, just kind of like what I was talking about Aaron Donald, just like that. He's one of those type of players that can make the whole other team's offense just out of whack. I mean, for 4 sacks, 5-6 rushes against the quarterback. Like you say, I don't know how healthy Breeze is with his ribs. So one good hit from Leo Mack, he could be out. So, this is a long. I don't believe too much on their offense, though. I don't believe too much on the offense of the Bears. No, I don't. I just don't. I mean, who's their quarterback?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. So I don't know who that guy is, anyways. So I don't know. It's what's going to happen is Khalil Mack is going to take over the game, and they're probably going to win like a shootout. Not shootout, but like a low shootout, like a 15 kind of thing. And,
like a 20 to 15 game.
Khalil Mack just holding it down. Boom, here comes a field goal. Game over. But if their defense does not show up and it's game over, it's going to be like a 37-40 game to like 3. And it's going to be a boring game. And I find this to be probably the most boring game out of all the games that we're going to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because Bears offense is just, I don't know. Like I said, it's their quarterback.
Trash.
Yeah. So if their defense shows up, okay, there goes that upset. So I feel that Khalil Mack will have one of those special games and they'll upset. They'll win by like 2 or 3 points.
All right, JC, what do you think?
I think this is obviously the Saints' game to lose. And I think they have to do almost everything wrong to lose this game. Like almost everything has to go wrong for them to lose this game. And the Bears have to get a lot of luck on their side for them to actually have a chance of winning this game. I just don't see the Bears just don't have a lot of firepower except for Mac. That's it. To be honest, not that I could think of at least. And if you know Drew Brees, he doesn't have to do a lot. He never really did a lot this season in the first place. He hasn't really thrown deep balls. He hasn't really done he hasn't been really doing anything except for slants, short passes, stuff like that. So he doesn't really have to do much. Just contain the game. I think it's gonna be a really slow paced game, a really low scoring game. But I think they're gonna win. But I don't. I think this is gonna be the only game that they're gonna win this playoffs. So.
Ooh. Well,
I hear talk about Drew Brees retiring at the end of this year too.
oh, that would be weird.
I can see that.
Bring him to the Niners.
I think it'll be about time with the way he's playing now.
Yeah.
Hey, have him come to the Niners, be a quarterback coach.
No, God.
We need something quarterback.
Yeah.
Right now.
Deshaun.
We need Watson.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
that's another
Trade everyone for him.
Yeah, that's another
Trade everyone.
And get rid of all the picks, man. I'll get rid of all the
Trade
picks.
Kyle Shanahan.
Okay, no.
You know, really quick before I don't want to get off topic too much, but the Texans have 0 picks in the upcoming draft.
We have a lot of picks.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Niners need to get on the phone.
Rebuild. Go ahead.
They already got rid of D-Hop. Might as well rebuild for real.
Rebuild.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I think? Bears Saints. The only way for the Bears to win is just like the Washington football team. Is if the defense slows down Drew Brees, because Drew Brees is like same thing as Tom Brady. Like they're both old. They're both,
He's got hates on the old folks, man.
No, so Khalil Mack needs to bring it at least 2 sacks, and the defense has to stop Drew Brees.
Yeah, Khalil Mack.
But the offense doesn't have enough firepower. It's really it's just nobody actually. I think it's just Allen Robinson, a wide receiver, and it's just I don't know. Let's see if Mr. Trubisky has best game of his life.
Never know.
And the Saints, man, they're gonna bring it. They don't need to throw deep. Emmanuel Sanders used to getting those throws from not far, but yeah, I think the Saints are gonna win it
The Saints?
by at least 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Bears offense doesn't have much so
Okay.
they won't produce. Well, the last game of the wild card round is the Niners versus the Bengals, and
I wish.
the Browns versus the Steelers, and
Playing the JV team.
Carlos, what do you think?
Oh man. I've been watching the Steelers the last few weeks and they don't look good. I'm gonna be honest. They a few weeks ago we had Mike on here, and he was saying that he liked that they were losing, it's gonna be a wake up call. They haven't woken up yet. So
Still taking a nap.
it's they need to wake up. They need to wake up soon. And I'm being honest, I don't think they're going to wake up this week. I think the Browns have a lot more to play for. I think they have a lot more to fight for. I think they're a lot more motivated and angry by the fact that they barely got in. When they had, they realistically had a record a few weeks ago to where they could have almost won the division. And they blew it. I think they lost against the Jets, and they blew it. So. I think they're still pretty upset about that. I think Baker Mayfield's going to try and go out and show that he really is someone and that he deserves to be on that stage. I know all the guys on the Browns team are feeling pretty motivated, especially in the fact that it's a division game. Steelers have always had the Browns number. They always beat them. I think this is the year that Cleveland really tries to stick it to them. Their old-time, division rival. On the other side of I really think it's more just Pittsburgh though, rather than it is Cleveland beating them. Pittsburgh just hasn't looked good after their 11-0 start. They just don't. They're not executing. I mean, they're Big Ben is looking like he's confused out there. Their defense isn't playing well. The receivers are not, on the same page. When they are clicking, they're getting blown up by the defense. So it's like, what's going on? It looks like people have almost kind of figured out Pittsburgh, at least so far for this year. You also have some added fuel this week by Juju, kind of talking some smack about the Browns, saying that they're no names, saying that they're going to be, just another basically week for them. Like, I think the Browns have definitely taken notice of that. The Browns are definitely not the same Browns that we have seen before. They are a more legitimate team, and even though they might not be a super contender, they've definitely made the playoffs. They've definitely shown that they can hang at least, in tight games or back-to-back games and stuff like that. So I think the Browns are going to come out hard. I think they're going to punch them in the mouth, and it's going to be up to Pittsburgh on whether they can respond. I think Cleveland will be able to score. Again, it's more just can Pittsburgh keep up? And I know that sounds very strange from what Pittsburgh is used to. But I think we're going to see Pittsburgh trying kind of their old tricks, and they're not going to work. So I think they're going to have to find, a few new different ways on how to beat Cleveland. Pittsburgh is the number one passing offense, even when they're up. And I already know Cleveland knows that, so Cleveland is going to be looking to, basically QB spy on Big Ben, or whatever, like basically just have a safety out there just looking at his eyes, seeing where he throws. Because they know he's going to throw. They don't run the ball at all, even with James Conner healthy, so I think that's going to be a huge part on Cleveland's end. They're going to run all day. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are one of the best 1-2 punches for running backs in the league, and they've been going off every week. So this is another one of the upsets I have. However, if you've been watching them play, you're going to know that it's not as much of an upset as it seems on paper, just by the way they've been playing, So I would take the Browns probably by a touchdown or less.
All right. Papa, what do you think?
I think the Steelers are gonna win. Steelers are gonna win just because as an overall team mindset, I think they're gonna be. I think it's kind of the opposite. So if you remember, Pittsburgh went through those the 12 days. No, the 12 days they played 3 games, and the COVID and all this crap, all this stuff happened. Now the Browns this past week or 2 weeks ago, for the last 2 weeks, they've been going through the COVID bug. The coach is not going to be there. A couple of the linemen aren't going to be there.
Which coach? The head coach?
Your head coach is not going to be there.
Oh, he's not even going to be there?
No.
Oh, the Steelers. wait, hold on a second. I didn't know that.
With that said,
keep going.
Yeah, so the actual coach is not going to be there. He's gonna have a Bluetooth on. He's gonna be talking to the quarterback from his Bluetooth from home.
Oh yeah, no.
I think you know what it is. He's okay. He was exposed or something like that.
He was a contact, probably. Yeah.
It was a contact. So a couple of the linemen were they actually and check this out. The Browns did not practice the whole week because they closed their facility. So they're going to come to the game with 0 practices. So they're going to come. Yeah, they're going to come angry, but so it kind of bit them on the right. But like you said, they're going to come angry. So maybe they're going to use that as a motivation. However, not having reps, not having practice, it's going to kind of.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
Not having a coach. They're gonna have the coordinator or something, but it's just gonna be kind of maybe he'll do a Zoom like this and give him a speech before the game. But I mean,
you need the head coach in your ear,
especially with what's his name with quarterback Browns Baker. Steve, what commercial he does? What's the commercials he does for? Allstate? No.
Is it Allstate? No, it's
it's like State Farm or like Geico.
State Farm, whatever he does.
Yeah.
He's gonna need some comfort from the coach, which he's not gonna have. So I think there's too much experience from the coach from the Steelers and Roethlisberger to let this go, especially with these guys not having to practice whole week, COVID, the coach not being there. If Pittsburgh loses this game, you could call it maybe the end of their the coach and Roethlisberger tenure, because there's no way they should lose this game because of all the obstacles Browns have to go through to win. If Browns win, then they're, to me, they have arrived to the NFL. To be honest with you, I mean, it's a long time coming for them. Yeah, they had a good year, but this is one of those games that Browns, if they could win in this matter, forget about it. I mean, it's just they might not even win next week, but just this probably they'll be their Super Bowl with all these issues, all these problems. So, but I still think Pittsburgh's going to win at least by 10 points.
No wonder Juju was talking smack. He knew that the coaches weren't going to be there and all this stuff.
What about you?
Crazy.
So the Steelers and the Browns actually just played, like, I think
Last week.
Yeah. So I think if it's time to wake up for the Steelers, this is the game to do it, because they had just played the team before.
Mhm.
So and lost. So you got like new film from this game. You can dissect it. It is as fresh as possible. There's nothing more fresh than this film. So if you're gonna really pick some stuff up and actually like wake up, this is the game to do it.
Yeah.
Especially since they're coming off no practices, no head coach. They're not really going to be as prepped as if you are looking at that film and dissecting and making sure that you're ready to get to that game. So I think if the Steelers lose, they are just really, really bad. And that 11-0 start didn't mean nothing, to be honest. So, yeah, that's my thing.
Well, let's hope they win, because if they don't win, maybe Uncle Mike will not be on our show next week. He's going to be on next week.
He might take an extended leave.
What do you think, Liz?
All right, my pick, man. Browns, they have no practices. They have no head coach. They've been on COVID. Baker Mayfield, man. And the Browns, they're gonna lose, actually. And the Pittsburgh defense are gonna plant his flag. Plant his flag, baby. Do it for Bosa. Do it for Bosa.
Do it for Bosa.
Hey, Bosa planted Baker Mayfield's flag, and just do it for Bosa, man. And I think the defense is just gonna be too much. And with the offensive line being on COVID, not like
a few. I think one or two linemen.
Yeah, with that and the Pittsburgh defensive line, it's just gonna be game over.
Watts, what guy? I think you got sack leader of the year.
Yeah, 15. With 15 sacks as a linebacker.
It's not that much either, actually. As a linebacker, yeah. Before they used to get 19 to almost 20.
Yeah, and Cameron Hayward, I think that's just that 1-2 punch, like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, is just gonna be too much for the Browns. And the Browns, they do have an offensive attack, but they just don't have that much experience, just like Mike Tomlin and Big Ben. But maybe Browns might get revenge on Juju, but that's probably it. That's probably the story for the Browns.
Juju's gonna get smacked. Watch.
Yes, for sure.
Revenge?
Everybody's going against them. So what, Carlos, you gonna stay with your pick?
No, with them not having the head coach, them not being able to practice all week, them not having linemen. Oh God, no! You can't. I can't do the Browns like that.
Hey, they may.
If the Browns were healthy and had their coaching, I would take the Browns. But no, in this case, there's just too many obstacles and variables playing against them. No, the Steelers they're gonna take it. Here's what I will say. They're not going to take it in dominating fashion.
Yeah.
They're not going to come out and whoop them. They're going to kind of just squeeze by them, I feel like. I think it's going to be some type of thing where in the fourth quarter, Big Ben has to lead the drive to either regain the lead or to close out the game, like type of thing to where it's like, all right, now we have the ball to where we can run it out, type of drive.
Yeah.
And I think if that plays out in itself, I think that'll be the wake-up call that Pittsburgh needs. It'll be just barely squeezing by the Browns and seeing like, oh damn, we almost lost, like against the Browns, like what happened. So
yeah.
That's what I think will happen in this case. I do see the Browns still putting up a fight, especially because all their coaches and everyone is out. They're obviously going to try to play a little harder. Um, but you guys are right. I mean, just that many missing key pieces and no practice in between. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Well,
Yeah.
Green Bay is number one seed for the NFC, and Kansas City is the number one seed for AFC. And Green Bay might be thinking like, man, no Niners this year, man, no Niners. Yeah,
Yes.
woo! They're relieved, and
The whole division's relieved. Anyways, that's
You know, I'll say about Green Bay. This is the first time they've had home field advantage as a playoff team. I think that's going to play a big part because
And
no
it's
one
so
wants to
up.
go up. No one wants to go up to
Always.
Green Bay and play in the snow. Yeah,
You know,
that
when you were younger and I was still younger, but back then when Brett Favre used to play, I mean, you never wanted to play Green Bay, ever wanted to play Green Bay at home until I remember it was a wild card weekend. Michael Vick comes to Green Bay and Michael Vick beats them. That was like unheard of. Like, wow, the greatest. Like, like when you go Seattle on the playoffs, it's the 12th man.
yeah, 12 man.
That used to be the 12th man. It used to be the snow. It used to be the 12th and the cold, the just Lambeau Field on playoffs. There's no way you're winning there. It doesn't matter how good you run out until that happened. And just recently, like you said, you know what though? Green Bay's been Aaron Rodgers has been playing at such a high level. It's crazy.
he's going to be MVP.
He should, but they
He should.
actually might give it to Mahomes. I don't know why.
Nah, the only thing Mahomes has over Rodgers, I think, is like a few more yards and touchdowns, or not even touchdowns, just more yards. I think Rodgers has more touchdowns, higher completion percentage, a higher QB rating. He has less than like 4 picks. The dude's like freaking perfect in like all his numbers. And just by watching them play, I mean, he just looks like he's doing it effortlessly. He looks like Mahomes, where it's like second nature.
The only difference is he doesn't have as many weapons as Mahomes.
He only has Devontae Adams, really.
It's just been him.
That's all he needs.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's how much. That's what I think. What makes an MVP compared to Mahomes? Mahomes is great, but he has crazy weapons at his disposal. He's doing this with like one player, maybe a quarterback.
Hey, just like who though? Curry.
Curry.
Yes,
Curry.
bunch of
Just like
weapons.
Curry.
He's the
Just like
greatest.
Curry.
He's the greatest.
My God.
Well,
All right.
that's it. Oh my! I didn't even realize it was 50 minutes. Oh my! But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And that was the first week and wild card weekend. We'll see what happens.
We'll go
Maybe-
next week.
Hey, really quick to all your fans out there, if anyone's been following my fantasy advice, you probably won your championship because I won my championship. All that advice I was given, I hope you guys listen because you're probably got a lot more money in your pocket now or you're fantasy champions. So next year, you guys know who to contact for advice.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos. for
Next
the
week.
Fantasy tips and great talk. And if you guys enjoyed, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. And let's see what
Niners.
happens. Niners, baby. Let's go.
All right, Carlos.